Jai Hind to all. This is Santosh Mishra, Assistant Professor in IT Department of Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College. I will teach you all web designing. In this semester, the web designing subject is running in second year 4th semester, and its code is KIT 501. Since the software that are running today are mostly based on web, and whenever a organization wants to or represent its information, there is a way that is called web, where it can put its information so that each and everyone may access from that. So, it is very important to understand what are the principles that are involved at the time of when we are going to design a website or we are going to put our applications on some web. So, there are certain principles that should be followed, and in this subject we will understand what are the principles, what are the way to create the website or those technologies, how can we style them, what are the different styling mechanism involved, how can we apply some sort of programming, we can say scripting, we can say on those websites to make it little bit dynamic, and then we will see how can we launch, how can we make our website live so that it may be accessed around the globe. So, it is basic need of any website developer to understand what are those principles that are involved at the time of designing of a website. So, let us start what are those principles for web designing. So, basic principle that are involved in websites are: any website should fulfill its intended functions, means it should convey the information, the thing that it should be. Whatever website जो करना, जिस पर्पज़ के लिए आपने वेबसाइट बनाया है, that purpose should be fulfilled. Means if we are targeting academic school, let's say we are targeting some schools, and if a school is looking for some sort of information, that your website should provide all those informations that are required for that school. So, your website should be fulfill its intended functions by conveying its particular message whilst simultaneously engaging the visitors, engaging the users on your website. So, several factors like consistency, typography, imagery, simplicity, and a number of principles are involved when we are going to design a website. Those principles should be kept in mind. So, first thing that we should kept in mind, that our website, what is the purpose of our website. If we properly survey the why we are developing this website, if we are focusing on our target user by some mean of surveying or analyzing the requirement of user, so we generally we develop a website many times for describing our expertise. Sometimes we develop our website to build the reputation of our organization. As we know that if an organization that we are looking for have not any website, then the thing come in our mind, we think that that organization is not a authentic, valid and good organization. So to make our reputation, is an organization should have website. So generally many times we develop a website to have some leads, and in sales and aftercare also we develop the website. The purpose of your website must be clearly visible in your mind. Before developing a website, you should have a proper survey, proper knowledge why you are going to develop your website, who are your target user, and according to their requirement, their need, you generally develop your website. So it is very important to kept in mind to properly analyze the purpose of your website. The next principle is simplicity. Your website should have simple enough to understand by a less educated people also. It should be cover a band of educated researcher to a illiterate person also, not illiterate, a little bit educated person. Means anyone can access your website. It should be simple enough, it should not have some complex design and complex typing images, so the people may not understand. It should be simple enough that each and every one may understand your website. So to make the simple, what are the things that you should kept in mind to understand how can we make our website simple? First thing is color. The color combination in your website should have, I suggest maximum 5 color panel should be there, not more than that. It should not happen that we have used 100 of colors in our website, it looks very awkward. So your color has impact on the mind, on the eyes of the visitors of your website. So it should have some simple soothing color that should be used in your website, and it should have maximum 5 color, not more than that. So second, to make your website simple, you should keep the typography of your website as symmetric. Your typing should be symmetrical typing. It should not have more than 3 different fonts your website. It should be less than that. Typefaces should be legible and only use maximum 3 different fonts your website. Its command because it commands attention and work as a visual interpretation of the brand voice. Means your website typing, font, face, color, it shows how your website looks, and that makes your website simple. It should have less complex. Imagery means how many graphical components you are using. It should, if you are using very high graphical things, your website should contain lightweight graphics. It should look attractive, but the graphical data type of your file, images, videos should be simple enough, so that your website may be loaded in defined time. It should not take a huge amount of your time to load. I will explain later. So simplicity, to make your website simple, you should keep in mind the color that you are using in your website, the typography that you are using in website, and imagery that the graphical components that you are using in your website. So the next principles that are involved is navigation. Navigation, a user that have arrived on your website should have proper navigation to the next pages. It should not very complex, easy navigation. Let us understand it by an example. Your website have, let's say, 100 links, and your link are not properly link styling has not been properly done. So when the user click on a link, go to the next page, when it come back, the color of your link does not change, means user is not aware about on which link it has clicked and on which link it has not clicked. So it will make him confused. So your navigations of your website to move ahead or backward, the navigation should be proper representation of your navigation should be in your website. The next principles involved in website design is offset pattern reading. Generally user read from top side, it starts reading from top side. Let us take a pen. Generally what the offset reading is, the user starts to search its content from top, from here it starts, and if it finds then okay, otherwise it starts looking downwards. From top it will read the whole, then it move to the next line, read some content, then move to the next line and next line and next line. This way it will keep on moving, and if it does not find content over here, it will move to the next page or next website. So your things should be put according to this viewing pattern. If your content that your target user are looking for are find on the top, it will be accessed by that. So you should keep the viewing pattern of your client, your user, and accordingly you put your things on your website. So next is visual hierarchy. Visual hierarchy means arrangement of elements is very important. The order of arrangement of your element is very important. This is done either by size, color, imagery, contrast, typography, white space, texture, style. One of the most important function of visual hierarchy is to establish a focal point. This shows visitors where the most important information is. Means your most important information that the user is looking for has been aligned, has been put on your web page at the place where the user viewing first arrive. User see according to the app-shaped viewing, so accordingly you put your content of your website. Now the next important principle is content of your website. Your website should have good presentation, good designing, good graphic, but content is at most important. If the website has good design but the content is not accurate, then there is no worth of designing this type of website. Content is most important. Your website should have accurate, good and authentic contents, as well as it should have some great design pattern also. Using compelling language, great content can attract and influence visitors by converting them into customers. If a visitor finds a required content on your website, then next time it will, if let's say a user is looking for C program and it write in the search engine like write a C program to develop to add two numbers. It searches, Google search engine provides some links and it click on first website, and if its content finds there, then it is very much chances then from next time it will look directly go to that website. So your visitor may be your client, may be your customer if your content is proper, content is good. So content should be written on your website by finding at correct places, by writing accurately, and it should be authenticated, authentic content only. So the next principle is grid based layout. If you can see many places there are certain problem of alignment in the content of your website. If you want to make it properly arranged, then you can use grid based layout arrangement, and grid based layout arrangement make your content align properly. Now next concept is load time. Your website should not load, means it should load within 3 minutes. It is very good if it loads in 1 to 2 minutes. As less time it takes in loading will impact good on your user. जितनी जल्दी आपकी वेबसाइट लोड होगी उतना ही बेटर है. The user waits, maximum waiting time for the user is 3 seconds. If your website loads more than 3 seconds, then there is very much chances that user will move to the next website. So optimally your website should load, it should take at most 2 seconds or maximum to maximum 3 seconds it loads in loading time. So that you means your pages should be optimized enough to load into lesser time. Very much important. If your website have higher loading time, then it has higher chances to lose your visitors. Next and most important is your website should responsive, proper responsive, mobile friendly. Means if your user, if your visitor is opening your website in mobile, your website should be properly aligned in mobile also. It should look good, it should properly opened in mobile also. And if it is the user open that into some laptop, some machine, means on desktop, then there also it should open in desktop layout pattern. So for that we define the viewport of your website that we will later see. So your website should be mobile friendly as well as machine friendly, laptop friendly, desktop friendly. So it should open in the same pattern in both mobile as well as laptop. So more people are using mobile phones these days and other devices to browse the web. It is important to consider building your website with a responsive layout where your website can adjust its screen, adjust its content on different screen. Means if it is mobile, then your website should adjust according to the mobile screen, and if it is desktop, your website should be adjust according to the desktop screen. So adjustment of your website content according to the screen on which it is opening is called responsiveness of your website, means your website should be responsive. Now we have understood what are the principles that are involved in designing a website. We have seen that our website purpose should be properly defined and analyzed. Why we are developing a website? Then your website should be simple enough, so it should not looks very complex, otherwise visitor will move to the next website. And to make it simple, we generally focus on color, type, imagery of your website. Then the next principle we understood is navigation. The pages should be properly navigated. There should be mechanism to proper mechanism to navigate amongst different pages. Then this is the viewing pattern of visitors, that is F-shaped pattern, the reading pattern of visitors, and so according to this shape, F-shape, your content should be aligned. Then visually, each and every component should be hierarchically properly arranged on your web pages. Then content is very much important. It should be authentic, correct, and depending upon the target user, it should be written on your website. Then grid based layout arranges the content of your website, and it solves the problem of your website will look very much aesthetic if you have planned according to the grid based layout. Then the load time of your website should not be more than 3 seconds, it should be 2 or lesser. So for that your loading time should be optimized enough so that your website loads in lesser time. Then the last is responsive. Your website should be responsive enough to adjust the content according to the screen on which it is opening. These 9 principles should be kept in mind while we are developing a website. So now what the website is? We should understand what the website is. As we all know that if we want to represent some information, some data to around the globe, if you want that each and every one on internet may access this particular content. So to make it accessible around the globe, that content should be written on some web pages, and web pages may be developed by hypertext markup language. We will see later on. Means what the website is? Website is just a collection of connected web pages. When a number of connected web pages are collected at a single place, a single machine, and that machine has some public IP, and so that machine, that website that we have put on that machine should be accessed from anywhere. So website is a combination of different web pages linked together in a certain fashion according to the designer's will and organizational need. And this website served through some same domain name server. Means your website should have some domain name, since we have created collection of web pages, and those web pages we have put on some central machine, on some machine that is on the network, and from that, since each and every machine on the network are uniquely identified by some IP addresses, so and that machine is called server on which you have put your website. So, to access that machine, to access that website, you should have some IP address, but it is very hard to remember each and every machine's IP address. To resolve this problem, there is domain name server that is responsible to convert your IP addresses to the names and names to the IP address according. When we type some name, that it will be resolved to the corresponding IP address and go to the server, and when it come to our side, the IP address is resolved to the name. Domain name server make it easy for us. So, we need not to remember the IP address of each and every website, we can just remember those name. So, the website is collection of web pages, and that has been stored on some machine that is called server, and that from domain name server we can access those machine by the mean of that name or IP address we can access. So, each and every website may be accessed by mean of some uniform resource locator, that is called URL. In URL you have to pass the IP address, the domain name, then port number and the content of your website that you are looking for. There are two types of website, that is static and dynamic website. And static website provide the information, the data as it is, that has been stored on your server to the client, and dynamic website create the web pages dynamically according to the requirement of the user and send back to the client. And this static and dynamic website we will cover in the next lecture, and after that we will move to the HTML. Okay, thank you. We will meet in the next lecture. Thank you. Thanks a lot.